Premier prix, Grand Prix international Reine Elisabeth. Eerste prijs, grote internationale prijs, Koningin Elisabeth.
Sire, Madame, Mesdames, Mesdemoiselles, Messieurs, le premier lauréat.
Alors, je crois, ce qu'on peut appeler une interprétation totale, comme celle que nous avons entendue ce soir.
Grand Prix international Reine Elisabeth de Belgique. Médaille de Vermeil, 150 000 francs. Eugène Mobilewski.
Когда я играл, я очень свободно себя чувствовал и не думал о том, что, какую премию там, или что я должен обязательно получить что-то. Нет. Я просто играл, и мне было просто приятно играть для своего удовольствия. Я старался играть как можно лучше. Но вы знаете, я вам должен сказать, что это было неожиданно, что я получил первую премию. Это было неожиданно для меня, это было неожиданно также для тех, кто меня посылал. Потому что у нас, в общем, очевидно, был уже сделан выбор того человека, которого хотели видеть лауреатом первой премии, победителем этого конкурса. Это был...
Не ты.
Не я, но другой. Это не важно, кто это был.
А кто это?
Но это был пианист, который получил вторую премию, Николай Петров.
Это вы знали?
Нет, я потом это узнал. Но я ни к чему никакого отношения не имел, меня это вообще не интересовало.
Но я должна сказать, извини, пожалуйста, что я, например, это знала, находясь, не будучи с тобой знакомой, и находясь в другом городе, я жила в Санкт-Петербурге.
Николай Петров.
Но я знала, что на конкурс в Брюссель едет делегация во главе с другим пианистом, который получил первую премию впоследствии. Это все знали, потому что обычно такие вещи, они выстраиваются заранее.
Félicitations, Monsieur Petrov, vous êtes le second. Je crois que vous connaissez bien le français. Pouvez-vous demander à Monsieur Mogilevski comment il se sent? Quelles sont ses impressions après cette grande victoire?
Какие твои чувства после этого вообще события?
Я страшно рад. Это
огромное событие в моей жизни. Я даже не могу передать свою радость и счастье.
Il dit qu'il est très heureux, que c'est une très grande page dans toute sa vie.
Мне сказали, и маме моей сказали, что никто не будет встречать, значит, мы не будем встречать. Это Министерство культуры, и тогда министр культуры была Фурцева. И вот Фурцева сказала, мы не будем встречать вашего сына, сами встречайте.
Corne, oui, comme une corne. Non, avec à la russe. Qui est le premier? Voilà. Très bien. Comme ça, continuez, monsieur, continuez.
Tragedy. No. Can you read it?
They're looking for winner.
I don't think so. Probably, yeah, could be so, yeah. Yeah, that guy knows that there is no happy end. This one. Kid. Yeah, there is no grand finale. Despair of on a couple of faces, really a despair.
I didn't know why I was going there in the first place. I didn't even take a dark suit. I didn't expect to get past the first round. I think I just wanted to see where I was in the hierarchy of violinists in the world. I expected not to be anywhere. And that did me a lot of good. You know, to find that I was valid, and for some reason I was afraid of taking the responsibility of being accepted as valid. It was unanimous on the jury. Oistrakh told me.
Michael Wedstrijd.
C'est donc Michael Wedstrijd qui est le premier prix. Ça n'est pas une surprise pour nous, nous vous l'avions laissé pressentir tout à l'heure.
Puisque l'appartement que j'ai loué et qui j'habite officiellement, appartement avec grand problème avec voisins. Parce que je ne sais pas pourquoi, mais presque tous les voisins détestent la musique classique quand je travaille. Et quand travaille ma femme Olga, c'est-à-dire c'est très dur pour nous. C'est pas possible de travailler normal. Et à partir par exemple 5 heures après-midi, je suis absolument handicapé parce que j'ai besoin de travailler et pendant le soir, je ne peux pas se faire. C'est-à-dire, bon, j'ai trouvé cette solution à mon avis. J'ai acheté un très vieux camion, mais très gentil à mon avis. C'est vieux Citroën. Et je travaille ici, mais je suis libre ici. Et quand je travaille, quand je joue, je peux attendre quelques problèmes parce que ici je suis seul.
Listen to this tape. You might like it. And it was made a little over 3 years ago. In Italy, after a party, I was slightly drunk. The piece by Van Paradis, I think. Van Paradis. When I was a kid, I always thought it was Van Paradise. But I learned better. It's true. This is already a studied, advanced method of playing. You know, when I was involved in Queen Elizabeth, after I was involved, I came back to the United States and I don't know how else to say it. I played many concerts. I didn't like the way I played. I didn't understand what was wrong. I didn't like the vibrato. It was an arm vibrato, which is, I don't know if you understand the technicalities. It was a large jointed vibrato, you know, the whole arm moved. And therefore you couldn't lessen it very, very easily or increase the speed very easily. It stayed more or less the same. And I wanted a wrist vibrato which was much more flexible, much more adjustable. And finally I remember one night I was having nightmares actually. And I got up and I decided I was going to stop playing. And I called my manager in New York, and he had a fit, absolutely a fit, because I was making him a lot of money, making myself a lot of money too, but I said I'm going to stop until I really learn how to play the instrument. He said, you're crazy. I said, well, nevertheless, I'm going to do that. And for 2 years, I climbed walls, trying to find how to make a correct vibrato, and I finally did. I decided that it had to go parallel to the fingerboard. It was a lessening and enlarging of an interval, a slight interval, and if it went in a normal way, it went parallel, not parallel, but at an angle, because the neck of the violin, I should really get one, stops you from going parallel because you hit the neck all the time. And I figured out a crazy way of doing it, crossing across the string in order to get, you know, the wrist moves this way, it also has the possibility of moving that way. And that's undeveloped, and no one. So I used to walk along the street, doing it, and people used to say, "Hello, how are you?" And because they thought it was really very funny. But I finally got it working. That's not vibrato.
When did playing the violin become important to you?
I don't see, really, if it became important. Maybe, yeah, really, I don't have comments on that subject.
Did you consider it as a profession?
No, I like music. Oh, yeah. And now I realize that I love music. Only now, really.
What's really important for you now?
What is left, because I have to say that I was seriously ill, that I had suddenly doctors found in my system formation of unneeded cells in progression, so I was supposed to be operated, and there will be no more question about performing. So,
how do you feel about that?
I'm glad to be out of agitation and stress of this profession. I am still in contact with music. I realize that I like it very much. So there is a lot of teaching which helps me to pay bills, and it's pretty stimulating intellectually.
I think Philip Hirschhorn, for me, was one of the most unbelievable musicians I ever met. Certain quality of almost mystical, hypnotic power that I experienced with him, I don't think I experienced almost with anybody. And it's very sad, of course, to speak about him as a violinist in a past sense.
Silly boy.
probably had some problem with nerves. Maybe because he's so super talented. He was closer to this perfection than most of us. And he really got a glimpse of it. And it must be very scary. And very difficult to be able to keep up with this speed. It's, you know, like driving super fast car, not just, you know, normal Ferrari, but these cars which go 400 kilometers an hour. And if you once reach speed of 350, my God, it must be unbelievably scary and I don't know, really, but it's this whole question of trying to reach something which is unreachable.
Did you ever play perfect?
It's very provocative. It's very provocative. Nice. It's very provocative. Nice. The only thing one should look in only for attitude, not for the target.
Yeah, you know, it occurs to me, when you play louder, you should take a little more space. You know, a little more da-da-dee, da-da-da-da-dee. And when you play the turns a little louder, a little slower. You know, before a subito piano, or a subito forte, or a subito change of dynamic, you should wait a little bit. You can't go dee da 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 dee, dee da 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 dee. Just a fraction. Don't overdo it, but. Wait. Long sigh. Sigh. Beautiful. I'll tell you the story. I think 14. And as I told someone, I had hay behind my ears. You know, I was like a farm boy in musical circles. I didn't know anything. And I studied with this wonderful teacher by the name of Galamian, who lived in this apartment, which there were two on this floor. And the other apartment belonged to a man by the name of Zolotti. And Zolotti was either a nephew or an uncle of Rachmaninoff. And one day I was 14. I was taking a lesson, and my Galamian asked me to bring the vocalist Rachmaninoff in for a lesson. Sure, I brought it in. And I was playing it, and suddenly there was a knock on the door, at which he got furious because he interrupted his lesson. And he went there, and he opened the door quickly. I was walking, and there was Rachmaninoff standing there. There was this tree trunk. And he didn't say hello, but they knew each other from Russia very well. And he said to Galamian in Russian, "Who's playing my piece?" And Galamian asked him to come in and introduced me to him. I didn't know who he was. What a fool. And he said, "Play, young man." He said, I'll play at the piano. And he played it, and I didn't know who he was, but as I told you, it didn't take long to find out that this was a big gun in music. And we played through the piece, and he said, "Again." And went through it again, and to make a long story short, we went through it 11 times, each time different. You know, he would play differently. And I was very adept at I loved what he was doing. I followed, and by the time it was over, he was crying, tears rolling out. It was very funny. He said, in Russian again, "That's my favorite piece."
Попробуй внутреннюю эту штуку. Рассказываешь. Сюда. Обязательно вторую ноту больше. Еще раз можно? Да, не так много. C'est bizarre peut-être, mais jusqu'à 30 ans, j'ai absolument idéaliste rouge. Qu'est-ce que c'est idéaliste? Je n'ai jamais communiste officiel, mais j'ai toujours pensé qu'il existe quelques idéaux et c'est pas faute système, c'est faute les jeunes qui réalisaient ce système. Et j'ai toujours essayé de discuter avec le gouvernement, avec Goskoncert, avec même KGB aussi, pour expliquer. J'ai besoin de jouer parce que c'est ma vie. C'est ma vie et je donne même tant de résultats pour la Soviet-Union. Mais ça ne m'est passé bien. Et après, déjà, beaucoup plus tard, j'ai essayé, j'ai commencé à comprendre, peut-être ce n'est pas faute, les gens, c'est faute système. Et ce système pousse moi, et finalement, avec grande difficulté, parce que j'ai grande nostalgie à Russie à l'époque-là, maintenant non, maintenant rien.
Бернард Хайтинг, Шарль Мюнш и много других обращался в Госконцерт с тем, что он хотел меня пригласить, а я об этом ничего не знал. И очевидно, я думаю, что все отвечали, Госконцерт отвечал, что я занят или что я заболел.
Ну, словно на тебе был такой ярлык, самый страшный в то время, политически неблагонадежен. Это был приговор. Это не ярлык, это приговор. И, конечно, те, кто этот приговор вынесли, уже держали это до конца.
Например, вот я должен был поехать с Евгением Светлановым и с оркестром СССР в Англию на большой фестиваль в Эдинбург, в Лондон и в другие города. И уже все я знал, что я должен играть, где, и мне уже купили билет. И в последнюю неделю до отъезда вдруг мне сказали: вы не можете ехать. Хотя там везде, уже в Англии, я был объявлен как солист со Светлановым. Вместо вас поедет Николай Петров и кто-то еще.
Ну, это был страшный шок, когда опять подтверждался вот этот жестокий, неумолимый роковой приговор. Ты не имеешь права, ты не выездной, ты не благонадежен.
Но, конечно, я потерял очень много лет, потому что я должен был...
Я точно могу сказать, сколько? 20. Самого жаркого, самого зрелого, самого важного и лучшего возраста для артиста.
Я потерял это для того, чтобы сделать карьеру. Чтобы меня люди узнали в других странах, но тем не менее я ничего не потерял. Я занимался, я продолжал давать концерты, записывать пластинки. У нас в России, в Москве играл с самыми лучшими оркестрами, так что я все время был одним из самых
играющих
ведущих исполнителей.
Большой крещендо. Большой крещендо. Настоящий рахманиновский. Рано! Так, и не замедлять. Боже мой, еще раз объясняю.
Я поняла.
Взять позже и не замедлять. Это нужно подготовить.
Окей.
Да, теперь то же самое, чуть-чуть меньше. Не почувствовал. За мной, ты можешь чувствовать партнера. Там, да. Оля, ну сколько можно повторять? Позже!
Я уже опоздала.
Значит, нужно еще больше опоздать.
Это уже что? Я не поняла.
Цезура здесь, цезура здесь, а темпа не менять. Темпа не менять, Оля, ты же здесь замедляешь. Ты же играешь. Только 2 цезуры, больше ничего. Значит, эти ноты 2 в темпе.
Musique, ça c'est passion. Répétition, voiture, et voiture, c'est aussi passion. Ça c'est grande passion. Parce que, pour moi, chaque voiture, ça c'est
Organisme vivant, ça c'est comme animal. Et pour moi, acheter voiture, c'est grande chose, par exemple, parce que j'ai attaché après avec cette voiture. Et cette moteur, ça c'est comme notre cœur, c'est comme notre cerveau, comme notre foie. Ça c'est organisme. Et à mon avis, chaque voiture avec son caractère. Cette voiture vraiment aristocrate et roule comme aristocrate. Et tu as assez là-bas, très aristocratiquement. Cette voiture très vite, très puissante.
Et l'autre là?
Ça, c'est absolument l'autre caractère. Ça, c'est 300 diesel. Ça, c'est voiture très puissante. Et ça, c'est comme bison.
I know finally why people like Casals, Radulupo, Giulini, Marta Argerich, they throw up before concerts or they shit for the whole day. Yeah, Giulini is throwing up. Giulini. Why it happens to them? Because once tasted the state of mind, which is absolutely euphoric. Really, when you are at the top, it's euphoric. You don't need cocaine or LSD. You don't need. It's euphoric. So, and when approaching the concert, they feel there is a too big gap between the state of mind in which they find themselves in the morning, which is too far away from what they once tasted. Of course, they are in panic. First of all, it's state of mind which is very tempting. And some people, for them it's only state of mind in which they can create.
I studied with Percy when I was 6, who was a teacher of Menuhin and Ricci and a lot of others. But when it finally came time that I had to go on the stage, it's like death. You know, it always comes at an inopportune time. You never get used to it. You walk out on the stage and you get very frightened because it's a completely different viewpoint. You're exposed to many eyes, all ears, and very closely examined. And this is a very uncomfortable feeling, and it takes time to get used to it. For me, it was just self-protective to play well enough to get off the stage alive and not to shame myself or not to shame my parents by playing badly. They were rather destructive to me for a long time. For example, I used to play and try as hard as I could and succeed to a great extent. And when I would come off the stage, my parents would be there and never say a word. Not a word. To me, each time it happened, it was a shock. And I resented them for behaving this way because I needed support. Years later, my father admitted that they had done destructive things, thinking that they were not destructive. And I believe that. I didn't know whether they thought I played badly. They were afraid to hurt my feelings. I didn't know anything. It was like my teacher, Galamian. Oh, so funny. He came to all the concerts I played, around New York. And he would come backstage. I said, "Oh, gosh, are you here? I am so sorry because I didn't play well." He said, "What are you talking about? It's fine. Well, I enjoyed it very much." And this went on. And finally, I played a concert that I really concentrated, and everything went well. You evaluate intonation, you evaluate scratching, you evaluate coordination, and everything went well. What you don't evaluate is the overall feeling of a performance. So he came backstage, and I said, he said, I said, "I'm so glad you came to this concert." He said, "Why?" I played so well." He said, "Oh, it's terrible. Terrible." He thought it was awful. So you never know. One never knows how one plays. My Lord. I don't know why Quatico was always rubbing my neck. I think that was that contemporary piece we had to play. It's a terrible shock that I'd won it, because I didn't think that I had a chance.
You still got the medal?
Someplace.
Where?
I don't know. I think probably in one of those drawers over there. You want to see it? I don't know. Uh-oh. My wife is gonna kill me when she gets ready. Oh my God, very, very valuable thing. No, this is not it. It's not around. It's like a jungle in here.
Hello, you have two messages.
Shut up.
Hello? Hello?
I hate to disappoint you, but I don't know where it is.
Somehow I did something tricky to convince a jury. So like it was a successful lie or something. Yeah, I had that impression that I cheated. It's a lottery. There are sitting 12 old men with cultural backgrounds, such a differentiation. One is from Ukraine. His ideal is aesthetics of Ukraine of 1950, and the other one spent whole life in Paris. So there should be a difference.
Philippe Hirschhorn.
And still they should choose a winner. That's a lottery. And it depends what they were eating in the morning and to what extent they were constipated, 12 old men. I thought I cheated very well.
Troisième prix. Monsieur Guidon Kramer.
In 1967, I envied Philip because I was striving for victory and I didn't get it. Even everyone around me thought to get the third prize. Being 20 years old in Brussels was an enormous achievement. At that time, I thought it was a defeat. It was a defeat for me because, not because I played less good than I should have. It was a moral defeat because I put, let's say, my heart on the table and my heart was rejected.
You know, I know Philip since basically, probably I could say, the same as I know Gideon Kramer, probably as long as I remember myself. Almost since childhood. We were both all from the same city. We all went to the same music school. With Philip, we studied together in Leningrad, St. Petersburg. Before I moved to Moscow Conservatory, where I studied together with Gideon as well. And Philip studied in Leningrad, not in Moscow. And he had some major problems with authorities in Moscow. And he certainly didn't have any help in this jury, to put it mildly. I would say, then probably quite the other way around. With all my respect and admiration to late David Oistrakh, who was one of the greatest musicians of all times, don't misunderstand me, he certainly did everything to help his students. Stoika Milanova, who got second prize, and Gideon Kramer, who got third prize. And I'm sure he didn't try to help Philip Hirschhorn. Quite the opposite, probably.
Did you feel he deserved to win?
When?
Then.
Then. No, I didn't feel. At that time, I was quite upset. Even, I have to admit, that I was sympathetic towards Phillips in many ways, as a friend, as someone that we shared the past together. Of course, I shared some of his joy about winning. And it's also undeniable that I appreciated many things which he was able to do in his playing, in his appearance. But at the same time, I wouldn't say I envied to do the same. Because already at that time, I looked at the possibilities of being an artist in some other ways. Fighting for my own identity, I had to object many things that Philip represented.
Philip was always number one, shining star, and Gideon was, as wonderful as he always was, he was a little bit in the shadow of Hirsch, probably one could say so. And the culmination of this was, of course, 1967 and Queen Elizabeth competition here in Brussels. However, then, you see, Gideon has this talent of being able to focus all his qualities, put them together and focus very well. And he won third prize in Queen Elizabeth in 1967. He won second prize in Montreal after Spivakov in 1968, if I'm not wrong with my facts. He won first prize in Paganini competition in 1969. And after this, he had enough guts to participate in Tchaikovsky competition in 1970, where the same Spivakov was playing and many other great violinists. And many people thought that it was suicidal, it was a mistake. After 3-2-1, he shouldn't, after first prize, do this. He did it anyway because he knew his qualities, he had very good chance, and he succeeded. He got first prize in Tchaikovsky, which was 3-2-1-1, like boxing combination, knockout. And it doesn't mean that it was very easy for him immediately after. He had his own problems, and for years he could play in the West, and it took still quite a while for him to become famous in the West. But still, he was always going up and up and up. With Philip, it's a different story because he's a different character. And he was this super sensitive, super intense type of talent, and I will never forget. I mean, one of the most unforgettable experiences in my life as a musician or as a music lover listening to the concert was when Philip played his recital in Moscow, first time after he won first prize in Queen Elizabeth. And when he came to play an encore, I didn't know what he was going to play. But when he took his violin in the bow, before he touched the string, I actually heard in the air, I knew what was coming because nothing else could possibly come. And he played this La Plus Quelante piece by Debussy, an arrangement of Heifetz, I believe. He had this hypnotic power, which very difficult to explain in words anyway. But this super sensitivity, super charged engine, it's much more chance of this engine blowing up.
So, when you are sort of on a level, you see things, you see how they are related, you feel things, you feel how those things are related. And first of all, some people have pretty large knowledge from the black to white. So the death and life, let's call it very big words, shit. So, and all the subjects in between. You see what all musicians are supposed to shout about and tell about, or poets, or so. And suddenly you see only half of it, and it's pity. Or I never pretended to see all of it, but one forgets a lot. One forgets, and he thinks that he still feels something, that he understands something, but he is functioning on the level of a frog and still content. You see what I mean? So, and then it means that you are not alert anymore of a danger. So, and then what helped me back is the illness. So as they call it in America, death therapy. This was a therapy, all right. So, and suddenly the mess was cleaned up a little bit. He's much more clever than I am, really. He's very analytical mind, very clear. He's a great diplomat, and he knows what he wants. So such a people deserve what they want. And he probably wanted what he is getting.
So now, do you know what the ingredients are for a successful career?
You get leading into dangerous area, danger area. Probably yes. But it's enough also to be a very hard worker to get to the top, really. Very hard work.
What else?
Lucky. Also.
Je vais voir maintenant une personne très importante, très grand manager américain qui travaille dans Columbia Artist Management et le vice-président de Columbia Artist Management à New York. C'est Monsieur Lawrence Tucker.
How are you? Good to see you. Thank you. Good to see you. Children, good?
Yes.
And your wife?
Thank you. My wife works now in conservatory.
Okay. I just was on the phone with Kay Maisky.
Ah.
She said to say hello. C'est parfait.
Je dois faire de l'ensemble ou seulement ça? Oui, comme cadrage.
I want, no, sit.
Oui.
Some like this, some like this,
Comme ça.
some back there.
Here not enough
Light.
light.
Okay, then some from here. Some from up there. This is a great pianist. Unfortunately, there are many great pianists who don't have careers. He, I think, has a good chance because there's something unusual about his playing. He's Russian, but he does not really approach the music as traditional Russian. Maybe that's from his years of living in the West, I don't know, but he's, that I think helps. One of the factors working against him is the fact that now that the Iron Curtain is broken down, there is a free exchange of Eastern and Western artists. And while a Russian artist used to be a great novelty in the West, now they compete against each other. I like to say you need some positive arrogance. You need to be strong. You need to not necessarily sell yourself, but have a certain, the word swagger comes to mind as you walk, a certain confidence that everybody feels. And Evgeny, I think, could use more of that. Relax. Good.
Okay.
But character.
Il faut diriger.
Fine.
Oui.
Character. Smile. Come on. Laugh. Ha 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 ha. There. c'est difficile de faire grande carrière. Pourquoi? Parce que propriétaire, ça c'est maison de disques maintenant, c'est pas déjà impresario. Impresario, c'est pas comme Sol Jurek, par exemple à l'époque, qui est grand amateur de musique, et pas impresario, les Beatles, qui après mort parce que c'est tragédie perdue, Lennon par exemple. Bon. Maintenant, impresario, c'est personne très commerce, c'est marchand, qui prend leur équipe, qui gagne argent pour ça, et c'est quelqu'un qui d'oison très bizarre entrer à cette équipe, c'est pas nécessaire parce que cet génie, par exemple, casse niveau équipe. C'est pas nécessaire. C'est-à-dire cette grille équipe existe, il marche, il joue, et le public écoute cette grille niveau de musique, et après cette opinion aussi plus gris, et tout gris. Bon. C'est peut-être pas très tragique comme j'explique, mais à mon avis, individualité, parce que Chrysler, Isaïe, Gorovitz, Rachmaninov, Chalyapin, c'est musiciens, chaque comme fleur, absolument individuelle.
I was morally right, but I was business wrong. And that's a choice you have to make many times in your life. And I don't think it's a shame either way, unless it's big thing. I don't think it's a shame. It depends on how hungry you are to make recordings, and the fact that you know that you're hungry to make recordings, and you play the game, which I hate, but at certain points I should have done it.
What kind of game is it?
It ain't poker. It's you know, you scratch my back and I'll scratch yours, or that kind. You know that game? It's all over the world in every business. And there are very few things that are done gratuitously, you know, by one man to another. It's either one benefits or it doesn't do it. And I don't know, art, I worked hard in my life, and I never really, I used to dream about money and fame and all, but I never did it for that. You know, when you're practicing, you don't think about money and fame. Or when you're playing a concert, you just don't think of those things. You're thinking of much more exalted things. And I think it'd be crazy not to think of those things, but they're small. They're compared to the pleasure one can derive from music, very small.
In what way did your illness influence the development of your love for music?
No, somewhere 15 minutes before you die, you will understand me.
I don't understand.
No, you see, you regret not being able to. So you start liking that what you miss.
By the way, I found this. That's what you wanted. Funny that a piece of metal can mean so much.